right. I welcome you to close your eyes, placing your hands on your heart, taking a deep breath to come into this powerful moment now. So grateful and so thankful to come together. Grateful and thankful to call this a time of healing, a time of remembrance, a time of insight and direct realization. So grateful and so thankful to be open and available to healing now. Grateful and thankful for Jennifer Hadley for bringing us together, for holding the high watch for all of us. So grateful and so thankful to be coming to a place in our lives where our own inner vision is starting to open up, where we are becoming more open-minded to seeing, to knowing the great potentials that are available to us now. We're so grateful and so thankful for everyone who has come together and everyone who will speak today. We're grateful and thankful to call the angels into this call, into the space that we occupy, illuminating the rooms that we are in. We extend this illumination and this light to our families, to our neighbors, to the rest of the world. So grateful and so thankful to know that we are all being lifted together and that love is leading our way. We share the benefits of this prayer, of this conversation that is unfolding today, and all of our healing with everyone. We let this be in the grace of God, and so it is. Amen.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Janelle. Wonderful. Yes, 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 yes. And we have another Masterful Living person who's going to do our music today. She's been here a couple times before, and it's such a joy for me to be able to introduce her. Faith Rumor is our musical guest today. She is a master teacher. She's a spiritual counselor. She teaches and supports people who would like to use their voice for singing and speaking in all kinds of ways. And she's an acting coach. She works with world-class artists, and she works with people like me and you and all kinds of folks. And she is also a singer songwriter, a super talented person, and high consciousness, beautiful spirit. And I'm so grateful she's here to share a song for us today. A couple songs. Faith.
Yeah, I'm so grateful too. This is amazing. Really good. All right. This song I wrote came to me in trying to take a nap, and the lyrics came to me. I've been listening to a friend of mine who was singing a song. I took my nap, started to take my nap, and the lyrics came to me. I got up and wrote down the first verse, went back to take my nap, and more words come. I said, really? I'm trying to take a nap here. But I listened, and here's what came out. I have a friend. I thought the song sounded a lot like me. He sang about pushing and pushing and pushing until he was too blind to see. And me, oh, you know that I've done my part, propelling that myth that I have something to fix here in this broken heart. so perfect. Well, in my heart, I feel love is working overtime to show me hidden beneath this hurt there is the birth of something divine. And all of my fears, oh, they're just a waste of time. So deliver me from my reason so I can live your vision of life. And what we are already alright. Yes, and perfect is just trying to break free. We are stars, keep on shining. We are the light, yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. And we're perfect. Do you know that's true? Yeah, we are stars, keep on shining. We are the light, yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. We are so perfect. God made us perfect. God made us so perfect. Do you know that's true? God made us perfect. God made us perfect. God made us perfect.
Yay! Yay! Ah. We are already as perfect can be, already as holy can be. Thank you for that, Faith. Ah, that just went right through me, opened my heart even more. Thank you, thank you, thank you. What a wonderful presence you are in my life and in this life. So grateful. Yes, I've known Faith Rumor for at least 20 years. And we used to do Sunday services together at Agape. She did it every week pretty much, and I did it once a month for a long time. And we always enjoyed that so much, the opportunity to come together and to unite in spirit for a holy purpose. As we're all gathering here today, it's great. And before I begin my talk, because I'm the speaker today, I'm just going to ask Jarrett. I'm so happy you're here, Jarrett. Could you just move so that we don't see your fan? I get a little distracted by the fans. I don't know what it is. It's me, but perfect. Thank you, Jarrett. I appreciate that. Yeah, you see, there's sometimes people, are, I know the topic today is going to be about fear. It's just on my mind these days. I can feel how much fear is coming up for people. And we don't like it when fear comes up. The temptation is to go to self-medication and things like that. A lot of people would be afraid to say something to Jarrett. But I can tell Jarrett is happy to be helpful, to be accommodating. We're all on God's team together. And but many times people will say something like after the fact, oh, I wish you hadn't done this, I wish you had changed this, I wish you had said this, I wish you had talked about that. I'm like, well, geez, bring it up when something can be done about it, you know. But we feel this insecurity, we feel that we're unlovable and undeserving, and we let that carry the day. So one of the things I try to do in my life, or I do in my life, is to demonstrate what an empowered person looks like, acts like, sounds like. And for me, it is a combination of being able to just be in tune with my own heart, and to know that everybody that I might talk with or connect with or ask something of, they're part of me, I'm part of them. And so we're part of each other, we're part of God. And so we're brothers and sisters, we're spiritual family. And so all are worthy. If it's to have, give all to all, Jesus tells us in A Course in Miracles. But there's a tendency that I used to have, maybe you've had it too, to withhold. And we can withhold on all kinds of levels. So we can withhold love, we can withhold kindness, we can withhold patience, we can withhold information, we can withhold our questions, we can withhold all kinds of things. And it creates some dysfunction. And one of the things that the Spirit showed me that was very, very helpful to me years ago is that we are designed to be the perfect givers and receivers of love. And that's, I'm taking that from a lyric from Ricky Byers' song, that we are, where she says, we are here to be the perfect givers and receivers of love. And I say yes, and we're also designed to be the perfect givers and receivers of love. So when we withhold love, we're working contrary to our natural design, which is why it does not feel good. When we take ourselves out of the flow of love, we're restricting our own nourishment, right? We're restricting our own flow of inspiration and goodness. And so when we do that, we feel malnourished, we feel left out, we feel constricted, we feel less than, we feel there's a sense of lack, there's a sense of limitation. But we're the ones that took ourselves out of the flow of love. So we're the ones that have to put ourselves back in the flow of love. Fortunately, we don't have to figure out how to do it. We just have to be willing. Our willingness is the only requirement. And life is consistently, constantly giving us opportunities to choose again and get back in the flow of love. When we take ourselves out of the flow of love, first thing that happens is a sense of lack and limitation. Next thing is a sense of fear. Right? And it makes sense that there's fear, because if we're doing something to bring an experience of suffering into our life, wouldn't that be scary? That we're in control, we can choose to be loving or not loving, we choose to be unloving, and then what could be scarier than that? That we're cutting ourselves off from the flow of good, and maybe we're blaming it on somebody else. What could be scarier than that? Self-delusion. What could be scarier than that? I can't think of anything anybody could do to me that would ever be scarier than me deluding myself. It's truly. Because if I'm deluding myself, I'm creating a life that's a hall of smoke and mirrors. It's one of those, you know, we're coming up to Halloween now. It would be like living in a fun house that's not so fun, right? Living in a haunted house kind of a thing where you don't know what's real and not's real. And what could be scarier than waking up in that every day? And don't we know it? So what Spirit showed me at being the perfect givers and receivers of love is that every minute of every day, the perfect amount of love is being given to us, we could say. I mean, love is the ground of our being. Love is the truth of our identity. It's what we are. But that flow of love and insight and guidance and inspiration is constantly flowing in. It's always available to us. And our job is to turn it right around and send it out in the world. Flows in, flows out. This perfect flow of giving and receiving love consistently. If we could visualize our energy field, our aura, and the components of our energetic body, we would see this rainbow torus ring turning. If you don't know what a torus ring is, it's kind of like a donut shape, and it's like a hollow donut that's turning and turning. So the energy coming in and going out and coming in and going out. And so we have these rainbow torus rings in our field, turning and returning the energy. But if we hold in our heart some kind of judgment, some kind of complaint or regret or resentment or jealousy or blame, shame, something like that, then what happens is we start to turn this heart chakra center where the energy is turning and returning into a quagmire. It becomes now the energy is not flowing as strongly and clearly as it's designed to, and then there start to be stagnation, and then things start backing up. And if you think about it, using a metaphor of water, what happens when the water stagnates? What happens when the water backs up? Well, then it starts to become murky, right? And it starts to become filled with all kinds of critters and stuff like that. And we're the same way. We're the same way. So if we're blocking the flow of love by holding on to resentments and regrets and guilt and blame and shame, then that flow is no longer happening as it's designed to. And because we're in charge and it's our choice, we're the ones that feel the effect of it. Now, we could say that's a huge bummer. I don't know how to get out of that. That's the story of my life. It was for sure the story of my life. But Jesus tells us very clearly in A Course in Miracles how to get out of it, if we will but listen. It's very clear in the fear and conflict section. He tells us that, or cause and effect section, I think it's actually cause and effect, which is the section right after fear and conflict, which I highly recommend that you read these sections again and again and again. They are so clear and powerful, and they have so much medicine in them for our heart. And so he tells us in chapter 2, if you come to me, I'm going to say it in my way, all right? But this is what he says basically. If you come to me and you say, take away my fear, what you're going to do is you're asking me to take away from you the only mechanism that you have to realize that you're making unloving, unkind choices. And you're going to get stuck in time and space forever. You won't have anything to wake you up out of the pain and suffering that you're choosing. If you can't feel the fear, you'll just keep going on and on and on forever, making these unloving choices. The fear lets you know that you have not chosen correctly. You've not chosen love. You've chosen something other than love. Now, nothing other than love exists, but we can have thoughts that are unloving and experience the effect of them in this illusion, that's what it's for. So, among other things, that's what it's for. So, we're the ones that decide which thoughts we're going to think, right? Our mind is the mind of God. If you think of it like a slide projector or a movie projector, we get to decide what we're going to put up on the screen. We might not be paying attention, but that's how it works. And if we keep putting up on the screen thoughts of not enough, that we're bad, that we're not good enough, that other people should be punished, I hope they get theirs, there's something wrong with them, there's something wrong with me, the byproduct is always going to be some kind of fear. And that fear is the divine alarm clock going off because it's so uncomfortable and going off letting us know, danger, 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 danger. You're not choosing love. I'm not choosing love. So we don't ever want to not know when we're choosing thoughts that are destroying our happiness. We do not wish to become without fear because we're not paying attention, we're not feeling our feelings, that we're self-medicating to such a degree that we're content to live in a delusion. We don't want that. We want out, right? We would like to get back to our real mind, our true reality. So he says, don't ask me to take away the fear because then you'll be stuck in time and space forever with no way out. Ask me to take away the causes of fear. And I remember when I read that, I thought, heck yeah, OMG, thank you for that. Because isn't that the real solution? To take away the causes of fear so we never have fear again. Golly gee, that's like, what? You mean it's like you go to the same restaurant every day for your whole life, and you always saw on the menu that they had pizza and hot dogs and hamburgers. So you've been eating pizza and hot dog and hamburgers for your whole life. And then all of a sudden you realize, oh, wait a minute, if you just ask, you could have a creme brulee, you could have a fantastic salad, you could have whatever's your heart's desire, but you have to ask. You've only been looking at the menu on the chalkboard. It's like that. So to be able to go to Jesus, to be able to go to the infinite Holy Spirit, the Creator, and say, hey, I'm willing to give up the causes of fear and not hold them in my heart and mind and entertain them anymore. Will you take them out of my mind forever so I never think them again? And it works. It's like, what? How are they not teaching this in preschool? Before people get into these habitual thoughts, right? Why are we not teaching the little 3-year-olds when they're feeling afraid? It's like, just ask Jesus for help. Just ask the Holy Spirit for help. It's because nobody knows that this is the truth of it, but it is the truth of it. And to be honest, I don't hear a lot of people talking about this. It's like, imagine that they were giving away fantastic vacations and trips and mansions and dream homes and dates with Keanu Reeves and all kinds of things that you could just walk up and go, or just even just call mentally, telepathically. Yes, I would like to go on a dream vacation to Bali now. And it could be given to you. Because a life without fear would be so much better than a dream vacation to Bali or a date with Keanu Reeves or living in a mansion. If you could live without fear and stay where you are, or live with fear and move to the most incredible mansion that you could ever imagine, what would you choose? I can't imagine anyone would actually choose the mansion. So this, everything is hiding in plain sight all the time. A Course in Miracles, Jesus says, ask and it is given because it's already been given. So what's already been given? What's already been given is the ability to choose. What's already been given is all the love there is. What's already been given is all of the spiritual qualities that are part of our nature: love, wisdom, joy, freedom, harmony, wholeness, clarity, beauty, and more. All creativity, all these, abundance, prosperity, all of these spiritual qualities are the field in which we live and move and have our being. But when we're seeking outside of ourselves, we can't access them. We have to seek the kingdom from within because that's where it is. And when we focus on seeking the kingdom of love, the queendom of love, the life of love that is our true nature, then everything's going to be added unto us, because what's going to happen is now we are going to be accessing the frequency of prosperity and the frequency of beauty and the frequency of creativity and the frequency of clarity and harmony and joy. These things are already available to us. But if I'm focused on, I think he should be punished for what he's done, I cannot access those frequencies. And it's my choice. And Jesus is telling me, ask to have the causes of fear removed from your awareness, and it will be done if you are willing. Seek first the kingdom which is within, and all else will be added unto you. If you put these teachings together, you could take A Course in Miracles and put it aside and just practice this. That's, for me, everything is in love holds no grievances. All your problems have been solved. It is a holographic teaching. If we really get any part of it, we really will get all of it. It's just our willingness that's required. And it is something to celebrate. Like Rosalind's like, yes, that's it. If we keep looking outside of ourselves, it's like going to the hardware store for frozen yogurt. They do not serve it. Although I always have to say, when I say that, don't you think it would be a good idea if they had frozen yogurt at the hardware store? More people would go to the hardware store. Plus, most of the people who do go to the hardware store are people that are working on all kinds of projects, and they need to get back to the project right away. They realized, I need some of those number threes, whatever they are. And so they're leaving the job. They're going to the hardware store to get that little thing that they need so they can go back to the job. And if they had frozen yogurt there, that would be a nice treat, a little break. And it's a lot of guys in the hardware store. They're not counting calories. And yogurt is usually low-fat options. I just really think if we had frozen yogurt at the hardware store, it would be helpful. But then it wouldn't work as a metaphor in my story. So anyway, I'm saying this to help you realize, to tell yourself, hey, stop going to the hardware store for frozen yogurt. They don't serve it there, right? So if we're looking in the world for our happiness and the things that will make us happy, we are going to the hardware store, hoping to get creme brulee, frozen yogurt, and all kinds of things that they do not serve there. And it's just, why would we do that to ourselves? Why? It's crazy. It's insane. But you see, what it also is it's a delay tactic. It's a delay tactic. Think of the prodigal son, right? He got his inheritance from his father, and he wanted to go out and see the world. And in his script, he was going to go back home, because we all go back home. Every single one of us, we all return to sender. Every single one of us return to sender. But we have to take the journey and we have to return, right? So he delayed and he delayed until he was living with the pigs. And he realized living with the pigs. Imagine a Jew living with the pigs, right? I mean, that's the lowest place a Jew could go. You're living with the pigs. Seriously, right? Because all the laws about pork and everything. So this is, and the unclean nature of it and everything. It's just Jesus telling these stories to really illustrate his point. So that's why the prodigal son was living with the pigs. And he realized, geez, these pigs eat better than I do. If I went back home to my father, and I was a servant in my father's house, I would have a better life than I have right now. And so he had to have the humility to be able to go back home and say, I went on this journey. It was crazy. It was wild. I learned a lot. I think I squandered my fortune, but now I know I'd rather be a servant in my father's house than be left to my own devices. I'd rather be part of the family than be on my own, separate. And so he has to have the humility to go home and say that to the village, to his family, to his parents, and to himself. He has to have that humility. And the door to our spiritual awakening requires humility. Because what true humility is knowing that we're all one, that there cannot be a better than and a less than, because we're all one. It's like I've got this cup of coffee here. Well, how could I say that, oh, this part is better than that, when it's all one? This on this side of the cup, it's better than on this. It's all one. It's crazy, right? But that's what we do. We say we're better than them and they're better than us. And it's a sifting and a sorting and a separating all day long. So the prodigal son goes back home and says, could I be a servant in your house? This is what I've learned since I left here. Of course, he's welcomed back as the princely person that he was when he left, because nothing has changed except he's learned a bunch of things. He's still his parents' son. He's still the beloved son. That has not changed, because the parents are not judging him. They understand young men want to go and travel and learn. Young people do that. And he comes back with humility. So now he can teach everyone what he learned from that place of humility, not from arrogance. But to me, what's key in that story is always that he would live better as a servant in his father's house. And for me, that's what made my life so much better, is deciding to become a servant. Deciding to be a servant. How can I serve? How can I serve today? And making my heart open to the reality that being of service is the greatest joy there is. I had to be really willing to discover that in order to experience it. It wasn't an intellectual thing. I had to find it in my heart. So in order to do that, I had to absolutely give up any idea that other people should be punished for their sins or for their transgressions, or any idea that this one is now unlovable. I had to give up all the things that I've been holding in my heart that took me out of the flow of love in order to really be able to serve. And I feel blessed every day because every day I find new things I can weed out of the garden of my heart, and that will allow more love to flow in my heart. We make the world so much more complicated than it is. It's really seek first the kingdom, which is already there. It's already there. Go to spirit and say, remove the causes of fear from my mind, from my heart. Take them out so I never think them again. I'm just not interested in them anymore. And then we'll be given many, many, many opportunities to shift those patterns in our mind by choosing again. It's like somebody who joins a gym and, you know, they get the cute outfit, right? So that they're going to look cute when they go to the gym, and they go there and then they have to start working out in order to get fit. They can't get fit after one trip to the gym. You have to keep going to stay fit, to get fit. And you can't just go to the gym and sit in the lounge area and read magazines. You have to work out. And sometimes that workout feels painful and you break a sweat and it feels uncomfortable. But if you keep at it, then it starts to feel great and you don't want to miss it. You want to make sure you get to the gym because it feels good. So that's, our life is similar to that, right? We want to get to the place where we're no longer interested in judging and complaining about things in life. And right now, in this very moment that we're all gathered here together, there's a lot of stuff going on in the world. It's intense. I don't need to tell anybody that. We all know how intense it is. This is one of the most intense times ever in the history of our lives. And our consciousness is needed to be clear and to hold the vision of humanity's wholeness more than ever. And we cannot give in to mind wandering. We must be vigilant. And so it's helpful when we can join together like this. It's helpful when we can have groups of prayer partners and pray together and to gather together to support each other in giving up the thoughts that are not helpful. What I'm going to invite you to do is look at, where do you tolerate the mind wandering? Where do you tolerate the mind wandering? So right now, if nothing has changed since this morning, the President of the United States is in the hospital with the COVID virus. And we found out about this on Friday when he went to the hospital, he and his wife. I don't know if she's at the hospital. I don't know what she's doing. And I imagine that there are many different kinds of reactions that people had to this. I imagine that there are some people that they're really terrified about this because of their relationship with the president, or because their feelings about the president, that they're scared and worried and afraid. And I wouldn't be surprised if there were people who were celebrating that he was not well and that he was struggling or anything like that. I'm sure there are people who wish he would die from the virus. You know, there's a whole gamut of feelings that people have. But he's our brother. He's our brother, and we are one with him. And whatever we think about him is what we think about ourselves. There is no better than, there is no less than. Anybody that we would wish to be punished or somehow exalted or anything like that is what we are wishing on ourselves, because there's no separation. We're one with each other. And the whole concept that anyone should get what they deserve and be punished is such a powerful, well, no, I'm going to withdraw that word. It's such a insidious way that we get stuck in the illusion, is circulating these kinds of thoughts. So there's always going to be something going on in the world where we could say, oh, I hope they get theirs, they should be punished for that, or I don't like them. And we don't have to like everybody's choices and their behavior in order to hold them as innocent and hold them as worthy of love, deserving of love and our compassion, and eliminate that thought pattern of separation. Punishment is one of the most intense ego patterns there is. In my podcast, I just did a whole series on the laws of chaos. And one of them is one of the laws of chaos is the concept that everyone will sin, and that means everyone should be punished, and death is the punishment, among other things. So everyone deserves to die because everyone's a sinner. And so we enact that, we believe that in many subtle ways. But fortunately, we don't have to figure out how to remove these patterns from our awareness and how to have a healing. That's not our job. When we attack anyone, we attack ourselves. If you feel attacked, if you feel like somebody is attacking you or life is attacking you, have love for all. To have love, give love to all. To have kindness, give kindness to all. To have a sense of clarity, offer clarity to all. Whatever you would like to experience more of, start offering it. For me, many years ago, I realized the wisdom of having an offering practice. Offering words of kindness, offering patience, offering compassion, offering and offering and offering. Because I used to be a withholder, right? I took myself out of the flow of love by withholding. I would punish people in my life by withholding kindness and love and compassion, to punish them because they weren't doing what I wanted them to do. And I was the one that received the effect of all the punishments. I didn't realize, even when I knew intellectually that all is one, I still didn't believe it. I didn't live as though it were true. I lived as though I could entertain all kinds of negativity about people and be unaffected by it. But life will never stop teaching us what we'd like to learn. And we can learn through pain or joy. That's what Jesus teaches us. But he also, in the Course, he gives us so many ways that we can bypass the suffering if we choose it. But a lot of times we just want to learn through the suffering, through doing it our way. And anybody who's ever raised a toddler, a child, and when they're in that toddler phase, one of the things that they say over and over again is, I do it, right? They want to do it themselves, right? But we can move out of the toddler phase and we can say to Spirit, you do it, you do it. You show me how, you decide for me, you let me know, you guide me, I'll take your guidance. For me, it's been such a release not to have to figure things out anymore. Oh my gosh, what a relief. Oh, it's exhausting trying to figure everything out, to be defensive all the time, to try and have a strategy all the time. Oh my God, it's exhausting. It takes so much time and energy and effort. And of course, it's never really successful, right? So we're always failing, right? Just failing less or more according to our judgments. But we can move out of all those patterns if we choose. So I'm going to invite you to, I like to place my hands on my heart to just physically demonstrate my wholeheartedness. I'm going to invite you to go within here in this moment. And to see in your mind's eye, ask Spirit to show you in your mind's eye, where are you in that prodigal son journey? Where are you in that prodigal son journey? Are you still out exploring, spending your inheritance? Have you gotten to the place where you're living with the pigs? Have you decided to head home to be a servant in your parents' house? Are you on that journey home? Are you just arriving home? Are you reorienting back to your life with your family? Can you let your family welcome you and love you and show you how to be that servant that is a leader, a teacher of God? Where are you in that journey? And what are the choices that you would have to make to leap ahead on that journey, to make a quantum leap without having to travel? What are the decisions, the choices you'd have to make in order to leap ahead on that journey? What is the willingness that's required of you? What would you have to give up that maybe you've been clinging to that no longer serves you? What must you surrender and give up that no longer serves you? And what would you have to expand into? What would you have to expand into? What are you being called to expand into? And lastly, is there some action step for you to take? Something for you to actually do to move forward? in this journey home, in this journey of the teacher of God. Being that servant leader in whatever capacity. Is there an action step for you to take? And now I'm going to invite you to see in your mind's eye a table in front of you. And there's a beautiful, beautiful decorative box on the table. Just gorgeous. This beautiful decorative box. And I'm going to invite you to, in your mind's eye, pull out of your heart the blocks to love. Just start pulling them out and putting them in that box. Maybe you just pull them all out at once. They're often like a spider's web of connections. You can maybe roll them into a ball and put them in that box. Pulling the negative thoughts and beliefs, the judgments, the attachments, the labels, the fears and the worries and the doubts, just pulling them right out, rolling them up into a ball, and putting them in that decorative box. And closing the lid on that box. Tying a bow around it to make it like a gift. And then taking this gift box and in your mind's eye, putting it on the altar of God. Laying it on the altar. Making an offering of it to the Spirit. Offering up every attachment you've ever had that blocked the flow of love in your heart. Surrendering. Trying to manage and control and heal them on your own. Giving it all to Spirit. The greatest gift we could ever give, all the blocks to love, to Spirit for healing. The root causes of fear. We're giving them to Spirit. Here you go, Jesus. Take it all. And all we'd like is more of what we already have, which is that we are the perfect givers and receivers of love. More love in our awareness, more love in our heart. Opening up that flow. And so we're grateful and thankful to receive what is ours to receive. And we share the benefits with everyone because we're one with them. In gratitude, we let it be, and so it is. Amen. 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 And now another song from Faith.
Rolling river guide, little stones are smooth, only once the water passes through. And so I am a stone, rough and grainy still. I'm just trying to reconcile this river's chill. But when I close my eyes and feel you rushing by, I know that time brings change, and change, it takes time. And when the sunset comes, my prayer would be this one, that you might pick me up and notice that I am just a little smoother in your hand. Well, sometimes raging wild, sometimes swollen high. Oh, never have I known this river dry. The deepest part of you is where I long to stay. I want to feel the roughest edges wash away. And when I close my eyes and feel you rushing by, I know that time brings change. Yes, and change, it just takes time. And when the sunset comes, my prayer would be this one, that you might pick me up and notice that I am little smoother in your head. Rolling with the tide, little stones, they're smooth. Only once the water passes through.
Oh, thank you so much, Faith. Thank you so much. Rolling River God. Yes. Thank you. What a blessing. I love that song so much. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Wow. Mm. So now in this part of the service, we do something that's unusual compared to other services. And that is we do a breakout, because the real healing happens when you get to share and you get to have your own ahas and insights and bring them up and share them. So what we do here at Power of Love Ministry is we do a breakout where you'll get a few minutes in your breakout session. They're small groups, very small groups. And the idea is that everyone who would like to gets a chance to share what came up for you in the meditation part. So maybe you could share what you are releasing, what you're expanding into, what the action step is. And you could share whatever you like, but those are some ideas for you of what you could share. And in our breakouts, we invite you to make sure everybody in your little group gets a chance to share. And we have many people who are participants in the Masterful Living course and Finding Freedom course. So they're used to doing this. And so they'll be in your groups too. And what I've learned in all my years is that when I can listen compassionately to somebody else without any judgment, I have a healing. And so there's an opportunity for you to be a compassionate listener, a loving listener, and there's also the opportunity for you to be able to share. And so we're going to go into that breakout now. We've got Sean here. She's handling all of that for us. You're going to see a button pop up on your screen, and then you just jump into that, click that button there to go into your breakout, and we'll see you a little bit later. If for any reason that you don't see your button and you're looking for it, you can't find it. If you're on a computer, look on the bottom bar. They just have a new software update today. So if you don't see it, look on the bottom bar. I don't know if it's there or not. But usually there is a, oh, let me see what I got going on here. Oh yeah, there's the breakout room button. Yeah, so great. Awesomeness is happening. And so there you go. Okay, fantastic. So when we come back, Faith, I'm going to just say a little bit about that song. And gosh, it's just so glad you're doing the music today. It's so wonderful.
Yeah.
That's so
I know
terrific.
that we share a love for that song, and after what you said, it just felt so right.
Oh my gosh, so right. So perfect. Thank you. So I'm going to start with Kieran J here. And I'm tempted to ask you how your class went yesterday, But maybe just a headline on that.
Hi, Jennifer. Thank you so much. It was very powerful yesterday.
I bet
Spirit was absolutely moving through us to open to this radical approach to the course, our choice for death and our choice for life. How are we doing this? So yes, that's the brief response. It was beautiful, and I'm still with it, really. I'm still there with all the healing and connection. Yeah.
well, maybe you'll come back and do it again.
I'd love to. I'd
Maybe.
absolutely love to. Yes.
Some things are so good and juicy and helpful that it's good to do them, once a year, twice a year, things like that. So
yeah, there's so much potential in this working. So much potential.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. And where so many people have died in the last year, so many more than usual. So helpful.
Yeah. Well, I'd like to thank you for your feast of ideas and feast of healing tonight. Really gorgeous. And I'd particularly like to mention the cause and effect. That's very dear to my heart in getting that straight. Because it's all upside down here, isn't it? In our experience, the world happens to us and we've got no choice but to respond to it. And it's anything but. And perhaps I can share two examples today, two quite powerful examples today of my practice of getting it the right way round. So it's lovely to hear you talk about it today, tonight, for me tonight.
Yeah, go for it.
I got on the computer this morning and started sending out some emails, and then I realized they weren't being received. And I then got to the knowing my email just isn't working. People are not receiving my emails. I'm not a technical person, and I thought, I do not know what to do about this. I did a bit of Googling, I couldn't find an answer, and I thought, I've got these groups this week, I've got one-to-ones this week. What happens if I can't email people, if I can't send the link, if I can't do all the toing and froing that's needed, one-to-ones? How do I contact them? And I just noticed an old pattern running. Fear of technology. That's where I put a lot of fear in the past. Much, much better now. So today, it started again. Oh my goodness, what am I going to do? And then this whole other thing came in. I just saw it and came to, God is the answer. God is the answer. There's not a problem out there. It's not emails. It's not groups next week. It's separation. This is an effect of my choice for separation. And this was so releasing and peaceful and healing. So I just stayed in God is the answer. If I can't run groups this week, well, I can't run groups this week. If I can't do my one-to-ones, I can't do my one-to-ones. I want God. I want God. And I just rested in that. And then much later on, I found a technician who told me Outlook, my emails and Outlook account has been having trouble today. So everybody who's with Outlook are having difficulty. They can't send their emails, can't have them received. And it should be resolved within 12 hours. And I haven't got to do anything. So that was beautiful. And then I just got this sorted out. I thought, oh, I can go make dinner now. And I'm staying in my son's house, dog sitting. So it's all unusual equipment and positioning. And I got a little knife and started chopping. And I don't know if you can see, I've chopped the end of my thumb and blood everywhere, blood pouring. not a plaster to be found. So I've had loads and loads of toilet tissue to hold it with. Same thing. I think I've got a problem with the thumb. What I've actually got a problem with is unforgiven guilt. So I was chopping one-handedly, mopping up the blood. God is the answer. This is guilt. And then the pain went. It was very painful to start with. And the pain went. And the blood's just about stopped. I've got to be quite careful. And the net result is a beautiful sense of the power of knowing God is the answer. Doesn't matter what's going on. God is the answer. So thank you, Jennifer. It was lovely to hear you talk about cause and effect. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, what is it with fingers in the last month or so, right? I crushed this finger in a door, and these fingers, all 5 of them, still. I do wonder if my fingerprints are going to return as they're supposed to. But I burned all 5 of my fingers on a hot thing, like a seriously hot thing. And so I had 3rd-degree burns on the pads of all my fingers. But it just, you know, that thumb, as I know from my own experience, but also knowing your mind, is every time you think of your thumb, you're remembering to choose again and remembering what's really important. That's certainly what I did with my fingers. And it is a healing for the mind. Everything is a healing for the mind. And I'm sorry you wounded yourself, but I'm so glad you're here.
Yeah.
We don't know what any are.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh boy. And we have Rosalind here. Rosalind is one of the teachers who teaches in the Power of Love Ministry also. And how about you, Rosalind? Do you have anything you'd like to share? Oh, Sean, can you help her? Oh, maybe I can help her. There we go.
There we go. Yes, it was such a beautiful service today. So integrated with the prayer and the music. And I loved your meditation. And especially you're asking people to choose, where are they are they home? Are they out in the fields? Are they with the pigs and so on? And I also loved what Kieran J said. It just all flows together. I think it always does, but especially today. I'm one of those people who don't experience fear directly, unless, of course, it's a car coming at me or some emergency, because I think in our family, I think because of the Nazis, our family got through that by not experiencing fear so much as taking action or feeling not good enough and then overpowering that with the opposite or some other version. It doesn't matter. The underneath is fear, but I don't always experience it personally. I noticed that what was important for me today was something that happened recently. I'm a pretty good spiritual student, so my relationships, work, with my husband, my children, my close friends, but I have made exceptions, teeny small exceptions. And because it's not obvious, because it's not my husband or my daughter, I have allowed myself to not pay attention. That's that not knowing you were talking about. I've allowed myself to not know. And the separation came through in a story about how my oldest friend doesn't give me this and doesn't give me that. And I prefer it's on such a low level, a videotape wouldn't pick it up. And yet, my heart was hurting because that story was, she doesn't give me this and that, or she doesn't, whatever the story is. And I've been lucky enough, fortunate enough, graced by life to have received so many resources recently to understand that my individual resources are not my power. I am resourced from infinity. And I began to be so generous with this friend that I had been withholding from exactly what I wanted to receive from her. I had been withholding from her. And once I gave it to her, she so glowed, I didn't even need to get it back. I received it by giving it to her. It's exactly what you said. It's exactly what everybody said today. The delivery was in giving what I wanted to receive in the story. And I was home again. And my message is these part-time exceptions, so I was home in the manner, in the glory for 95% of the time, but that 5% where I was making an exception was ruining my peace every time I went there. So thank you.
That's it. So practical. So practical. Thank you for laying that out so clearly for us. We can see ourselves in it. That's beautiful. Yeah. Thank you. Rosalind. Faith, how about you?
Oh, yes. So, such wonderful um, additions from Rosalind and Karen J and you, Jennifer, as well. And I, I've been struggling a little in this last couple of weeks because I'm putting together a webinar for my first webinar I'm ever going to give. And it's on my Voice for Actors course. It's a webinar for that. And there's a lot of, like, I'm thinking of Karen J, all of the technical stuff that has to come together to make that happen. And I have been overwhelmed. I've been certainly thinking about it when I'm going to bed, thinking about when I'm coming up, like how are we gonna solve these technical problems, and the more the ones that come up. And at one point I hit a snag and I didn't know what to do. And so I realized that I was going to go to bed and just give it to God, give it to Spirit. Just did that, just like Kieran J did. And I woke up the next day and I had a hit to do a Google search, and an app came up which seemed to fix this technical problem. And I still didn't know what to do with it. So I found an old technical advisor, a VA, that a virtual assistant that I had worked with, and sent it to her. She says, "Oh yeah, that works perfectly with that. I can take care of that for you. That will be it." Now here's the interesting thing. I still have this tendency right now to still try to fix this. Like I'm still trying to make it work, even though I've given it to Spirit and given it to someone else. And so it's causing fear that it's not going to get done. Somehow she's not going to be able to do it somehow. And so I'm sitting in that energy. And this is what I wanted to release today when with our meditation was, what do I want to release? This, that I think I can do it. That it's not about that. There are things that I will be doing, but this is for me to release to Spirit, to release to those who can help me to let that happen. So just as I release it to people in the world, the first step is to release it all to God. That if I don't do that, I'm still caught up in this circle of who can fix it for me.
Beautiful.
So it's so interesting that Karen J, we both had that technical stuff, because I don't consider myself that technical either. I get like a little bit overwhelmed with it, but I'm not going to say that anymore. I'm going to know that this all, if this is these technical things are here to serve us, and they can all be worked out.
That's so great. Yep, it's happening.
Mm-hmm.
The healing is happening. The breakouts are going to be done in just a couple minutes here. And all right. And yeah, so I'm kind of curious, just amongst the folks that you know, I'm curious what you notice in terms of around you, all of you. Maybe you can each just share briefly. What are you noticing around you in the people? Is there more fear, more worry? What are you noticing in the people around you, Rosalind?
I'm noticing people are very scared and guilty because of all the anger they have felt toward the president. And now he's sick. And they had wished all kinds of, nobody, I don't know anybody who wished him to get COVID or get sick, but maybe with the masks and so on. But there had been a lot of venom toward him. And now people are very quiet and scared and guilty, as though maybe they caused him to get the COVID, you know, the magical thinking of children.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, certainly our thoughts about things impact them, for sure. And this is one of the things we see with everybody. Like whenever I'm counseling someone, for instance, a mother who has a drug addicted daughter, let's say, you know, it's to get them out of the loop of seeing their child as anything less than perfect. It's their, you know, those, when they can change their mind about their child, it helps their child so much.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
I think the good part is that there may be some more humanity toward him. They may see him as more human. I think he didn't see himself as so human. And people, you know, because he didn't think he needed a mask and so on. Anyway, I think it could be very good after this. You know, doesn't matter whether you vote for him or you don't vote for him, but that kind of holding of him with that venom is hurtful to the people holding it, obviously. That's the teaching, and it's showing up.
yes, 1 minute. Anybody, either of you like to share any other thing? Thank you, Rosalind.
You're asking what I'm surrounded by, and
Yeah.
my awareness is that, well, I'm surrounded by people who are going deeper and deeper into their spiritual process and their healing. That's what my life is full of. That's what my awareness is people turning to spirit in a way they may not have dreamed about a year ago. We can talk about it in that way.
Mm-hmm.
And that is joyous. That's just wonderful.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pain pushes us and the vision pulls us always. And the ideal is to get to the place where there's no more pain pushing us, just the vision is pulling us. So that's where we're all going, and it's happening. It's really happening. Transformation is amazing and powerful, and it's happening. So folks are coming back from the breakout. The prodigal sons and daughters are returning back, and we're grateful for that. And oh, nice to see you, Carla. And I invite you, if you like. I always think it's powerful. I do this in my classes as I ask people if they have any declarations they'd like to make. Because I find that for me, that's a very powerful thing to make declarations. I make declarations with my prayer partners and with my friends and with spirit, and just to affirm and declare. It's a powerful use of our throat chakra, of our thoughts, our mind, our heart. So feel free to put any declarations you might have into the chat. That's part of what it's for. We're making the most of our Zoom capabilities here. So just so you know, we are going to, oh my gosh, look at the time. We are going to, I'm going to make a couple quick announcements here. Faith is going to give us a song. I don't know if Janelle is still here, but if she is, then maybe she can give us a prayer. And put my glasses on and then I could see more clearly. There's Janelle. So a couple of announcements. First of all, I'd like to share with you that Power of Love Ministry donations is a very important part of our financial budget and our ability to offer things like this Sundays with Spirit. And we do tithe to our speakers and our musicians. And so that tithe, it comes from your donations. It also pays our staff. We have almost the entire staff. I think actually the entire staff pretty much does have some part to play in the Sundays with Spirit. It takes graphic designers, and we have the person who handles the video, and we have GJ who's here with some of the technical aspects, and he also handles the emails and the chat messages and things that come in, and helps people with all the different aspects of getting online when there's a challenge and stuff like that. And we also have folks who handle the web pages. And so all of those things, that's what we pay our staff to do. They're very happy to do it. They're a very dedicated group. We have Sean here who's helping to make this entire thing possible. She's like, if this is the Star Trek Enterprise, she's the captain of the ship here, and guiding us, leading us through this technical aspects of the experience. Yeah, Sean is really a very dedicated volunteer and help to the Power of Love Ministry. And so I invite you to please consider making a donation. One easy way to do it is to also sign up for the text messages. So with a $1 or more donation, you can sign up for the free text messages. And I guess if it's $1 or more, it's not technically free, but you can also set up a recurring monthly donation if you like, and that's a great way to do it, and also get those text messages, acimtexts.com. And then I would also like to announce that my Finding Freedom Spiritual Bootcamp class, which is, if you like today's service and the meditation, and you really are interested in undoing the patterns and the beliefs of fear that recur and challenge us in our relationships, in our finances, in our creativity and careers, and with our bodies, with self-sabotage and self-medication. If you're interested in really healing at the level of the mind, that's what my Finding Freedom Bootcamp is for. I know we've got people here who've been in the Finding Freedom from Fear Bootcamp before. Maybe you'd put something in the chat to encourage people, let them know how it was for you. And we'll put the link in the chat as well. Right now, I'm doing a free live webinar. I'm going to do 3 more of them this week. And it's called 7 Simple Steps to Interrupt the Patterns of Fear. And if you take that and then sign up for Finding Freedom, you get a really nice special bonus. So we'll put that link to register for that in the chat as well. And I think that's it for right now on those announcements. And Faith, do you have any announcements you'd like to make before you give us a song? And where can people find your music and other things like that? Please
Uh,
remind.
well, thank you, Jennifer. You can find my music. I have a meditation CD on iTunes. It's called Create Meditate. It's called you can. It's under Light Keeper, which was the group that I was with at the time. And my music you can find at faithrumor.com. And currently, I'm offering. I'm as a an idea for our fall season and coming into our holidays, since it's so hard to get together with everyone, that I am writing custom songs. So if there's a song, someone you would like a custom song written for, I'm it's I will write and meet with you and work with you on the lyrics of what that song would be, and then I'll write your song and we'll get it recorded in a beautiful recording studio, and you'll have that song as a gift. And you can get that at faithrumor.com. And if you're interested in any of my teaching, it's on theartistfirst.com, which is my teaching for singing and speaking and voice and acting. But so that's where I am with that.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, it's a really fun idea. I've done it for some weddings for people, but this is a perfect time for anything that you have that you want to celebrate.
That's a great idea. I love that. That is fantastic. Scott, I hope it gives you some ideas too. My goodness. We've got such wonderful, talented people. Oh my gosh. All right. Well, give us that song. Thank you, Faith.
Okay. Let me get this up here. All right. So this song I was called to do because it was the song that is sort of our practitioner song at Agape, but I think we need this right now. And you could all sing along with me if you know this. I know that Jennifer knows this. Someone needs a prayer today. Someone's in need of a prayer today. Have you done your part? Someone's in despair this day. Have you prayed from your heart? So many are trying to find their way, and they need and a prayer of love. It lifts them high, it heals them, sustains them, and it sets them free. Our prayer of love, yes, it lifts them high, it heals them, sustains them, and sets them free. Have you spoken the word today? Did you give your all in prayer? The world's in need of what you say. Did you answer the call and pray? Yes, so many are seeking the way to go. They need a light, for our prayer of love. It lifts them high, it heals them, sustains them, and sets them free. Our prayer of love, it lifts them high, today? Have you done your part? Somebody's in despair this day. Have you prayed from your heart? Well, listen to the Spirit who's telling you to heed the holy call for our prayer of love. It lifts them high, it heals them, sustains them, and sets them free. Our prayer of love, it lifts them high, it heals them, sustains them, and sets them free.
Oh, thank you so much, Faith. Thank you so much. Another one of my favorite songs. Yes. Our prayer of love lifts them high. I think my internet's bouncing around. Janelle, can you pray us out? Where'd she go? There she is. I think I can help you unmute. There we go.
Placing our hands on our hearts, closing our eyes. Just taking a moment these last moments to bask in this beautiful energy that has been generated from these conversations, these songs. So grateful and so thankful to be lifted in the light. Grateful and thankful to know that our loads are being lightened up. So grateful and so thankful to have an illumination of the thoughts, the beliefs, the patterns in our minds that are no longer serving our highest and best. The patterns of thoughts that limit our experience or keep the pattern of fear perpetuating. So grateful and so thankful to partner up with our higher Holy Spirit selves, opening our minds and our hearts wholeheartedly to this connection that is always there, always available. So grateful and so thankful that the thoughts of our connection, the thoughts of not being alone, the thoughts of being partnered up are becoming more regular in our days. Higher Holy Spirit self, we are placing on the altar for healing the core cause and effects of fearful thinking, of fearful patterns, fearful beliefs, fearful conditioning. Our minds and our hearts are open now, and we are wholeheartedly available to receive a divine intervention, calling in our higher Holy Spirit selves to resolve and dissolve back to the core through all timelines, lifelines, and lifetimes now. We are willing to be lifted. We are willing to have healings. We are willing to experience miracles daily. So grateful and so thankful to know that our minds can shift, that we can have elevated thoughts, that we can see the light in the world. Grateful and thankful to this overwhelming sense of community, to keep our heads held high, to keep our hearts light. So grateful and thankful that this is available to us, that it is so accessible. And we are grateful and thankful for the developing willingness. We are willing. We are willing to have a healing. We are willing to be lifted. We are willing to have higher vibrational thoughts. We are willing to have thoughts of love, of peace, of clarity and joy. And we are willing to be the loving presence in the world. We share the benefits of this healing now with everyone. We let this be in the grace of God, and so it is. Amen.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Thank you, Janelle. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody, for being here, for participating. Thank you, Sean. Thank you, GJ. Thank you, Faith. I love you. See you next week, if not before.